Oh, hello. Hi, guys. It's me, Kristen, and welcome to Two Girls, One Bed. You may know me from such things as the hit live stream Instagram series, Two Girls, One Bed. We're airing 5 minutes late, and that's because I couldn't get this other camera to start filming. It knows what it did, and now we've resolved it, and everything's fine, and no one's mad anymore. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about being a finger-banging bottom, and I'm going to go into what that means, and its alliterative amazingness in just a moment. But first, an addendum from last week. So, the majority of the mentionable DMs I got expressed concern over recent or chronic hamstring injuries. For those of you who don't know, the hamstrings are a set of muscles right here in the back of the leg. One of them is called the biceps femoris, or the biceps femoris, as I say it in my accent. So it's literally the biceps of the legs. Isn't that so cool? That's why you can do hamstring curls. I don't know. So fun. Anyway, speaking of segues, hamstrings are a really fun thing. And by that I mean really complicated. There's a concept called flexibility, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. And that means basically, can my muscle between the joints get really long? Like its maximum correct length in order for the muscle to fire appropriately, contract appropriately. So if we're too tight in the hamstring, then something is going wrong, right? That means when we try to extend all the way in certain positions, we're gonna get hurt. We can be lulled into a false sense of hamstring flexibility by our own ability to touch our toes, right? I can do it not that hard. However, I will tell you, I have knots in my hamstrings. The problem with only stretching hamstrings, aka the problem with only working on your hamstring flexibility and not your mobility, is that most of our knots are in the belly of the muscle. So the first thing I'm going to show you, we've not used a tool or a toy yet. I have several, and we're going to talk about hamstring mobility and flexibility. So mobility in this case means impacting the tissue more central to the muscle itself, or the muscles themselves. And we're going to use a couple different things. I have some options for you. So this is my favorite one. This is the rumble roller. This is the really intense one. If you've never foam rolled in your life, don't start with this. It won't work. As with mobility in general, we need to make sure that you're not feeling a sharp shooting pain. If you are, you're on a nerve, you gotta stop. Nerves don't need to be mobilized, just other tissues. So as you can see, I've stacked one leg over the other. I'm bringing the foam roller from my knee pit up into, let's say, the bottom booty, right? That's towards the hamstring tendon. So you can go back and forth. This is a good way to scan for adhesions. Once we find one, you can even go across the grain, so staying up and then kind of moving your legs side to side. You, of course, want to do both. I heavily recommend 2 to 5 minutes each side. This should be done daily, but this can also be done as prehab or rehab for finger banging, bottoming. Additionally, there are softer foam rollers out there without all the, let's call them spikes. But if you're an experienced foam roller, that is my favorite. Second favorite is a metal pipe. Metal pipes are amazing for foam rolling if you've been doing this for a minute, and I just realized that that sounded kind of strange. Anyway, hamstring flexibility, we all know some of the static stretches, right? We have a downward dog, we have a forward fold. But again, and I say this every week, when we're preparing to do an activity, we don't want to do necessarily a static stretch all the time. You want to do a dynamic one that starts to get the blood flowing and synovial fluid to the joints. That's not a dirty word. And something that'll start to open up the body, focusing on one part as a system, right? So my favorite to just kind of get the blood flowing is a grounded overhead. I've shown you before, I'll show you again. You can stand with your feet under your hips. You'll reach behind, and then you get really, really, really tall. So doing a set of 10 to 20 of those after you do a little bit of foam rolling is a really wonderful idea. And as always, guys, I'll answer things and re-comment on the comments at the end. And if I don't know you, I'm not going to let you into my live video. And also, I don't answer DMs for men. Again, some of you ruined it for everyone. So sorry, not really. And also, unless you like identify as a lesbian, I'm not gonna let you be in this live video. Just so we're clear, because this is for ladies who love ladies, people who identify as such. Cool. So we've talked about hamstring maintenance pretty much, right? Here's the thing. Finger banging bottoming means you're receiving, you could be on your back, you could be in a variety of positions. You need your hamstrings to be really, really happy, as some of you have already figured out, in order for that to go well, right? Here's the catch. If your hamstrings are tight, then probably other parts of your hips are really tight, right? The hip girdle is one of the tightest places, I keep realizing how this sounds, in the human body, right? And if your hips are really tight, you will get injured eventually if you do a lot of strenuous things using the hips. And we know from past episodes, a lot of the stuff is strenuous series of movements starting with the hips. So for someone who may be switching in this particular instance, it's really important that you not only have the hamstrings open, you have the entire hip complex open. Here's another really easy move, and you actually don't need anything for it except a floor. It's something that we actually do at the gym that I own and run called the Phoenix Effect. And you'll start in a plank. You're gonna put your same side foot outside of that leg. You can make circles. So about 20, 30 seconds opening up the entirety of the hip, keeping the foot on the floor. After that, you're gonna bend and extend for about 20, 30 seconds, that other leg, right? So now we're opening up both sides of the hips. You'll step back, other foot, same thing. This is now clockwise, going the direction of the leg, 20, 30 seconds, and then bending and extending. This really could be done for any exercise because, as you may know, a lot of our movements, that's a good emoji, begin in the hips. So happy hips, good sex. I don't know, that's kind of a correlation that I seem to enjoy. Oh yeah. And finally, I have a second addendum, and that is I'm no longer referring to that one pose as happy baby because it sounds really fucked up. It's now happy bottom, and I will leave you with that right before I get to the comments. So again, this is good for being a finger banging bottom, and then also being a top, and you lie on your back, and you grab your feet, and you are just like that. If you live in the LA area and you need a little extra help and you're not a dude, go ahead and DM me and I can work with you one-on-one, and or you can go to my amazing gym. Okay, cool. Let's go to the comments. Okay, so a bunch of people joined. That's really fun. I have a heart emoji. Hi. Whoever said hi. Don't call me sweetheart. You don't fucking know me. I take back that hi. And eyeball emoji. Cool. So, as always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, or if there are topics you want to be discussing in the future, go ahead and DM me. I'm more than happy to help. Additionally, I will be setting up a poll to figure out what the next topic is. One of the options is scissoring. Okay, cool. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and goodbye.